competition. Meanwhile, Chris Los Carlos, what a start! Ron Beam.
When we first began the journey with ONE NIL FC, first began from the library podcast with the boys, and Costa came up to me and said, after finishing school, let's consider doing a futsal team, playing Sunday nights at Box High School, just so we can keep the group together. And what I didn't know, what it would have developed into. 1, 2, 3, 5 seasons we've come up to now, and it's the start of something new.
I guess I approached the boys to start a futsal team, and I guess like what everyone else has probably said, there was to sort of keep seeing each other at the end of the year, but also I personally had it as an ambition of mine to create my own club and create my own team. So I guess mixed in with that social aspect, plus creating further stuff for my brand ONE NIL and for the business as well. And obviously being a big fan of, I guess, #United and what Spencer's done too. I guess try and recreate something here which I feel like isn't really being done to the same extent of what I think we'd be able to achieve was obviously a big goal of mine. So am I surprised of how I guess it came out with at the end of season 5 to when we first started? Probably yeah, because I think more people bought into it than what I was thinking, and I think more people I think by the time maybe season 2, season 3 came around, I think people realised like, oh shit, like, you know, I think everyone within is quite serious, and I know me personally just continue to light a fire in me to continue to make it more serious, but also like just, you know, just fun as well, and get everyone and as many people involved as possible. So.
Initial thoughts of ONE NIL FC, well, it started as a social thing, and we always talked about in school that afterwards we really need to start creating a team, creating a bond just between the boys, just as a catch-up every week. But there was nothing more than that, and I never gave it any thought after that. Just a social thing every week. But ONE NIL has become a lot more, and it's really become a big part of my life and the lives of the boys.
Initial thoughts of ONE NIL. Honestly, the first time we kitted up to play, it was mainly to keep like that social bubble and make sure we get to see all the boys, but it's kind of grown since into more than just a social event on Sundays and a catch-up. It's kind of like everyone looks forward to it, and everyone needs to be prepped and ready and kind of to go for 40 minutes on Sundays. So it's grown more than that, to be honest.
Season 1, the beginning of something new. We had Dimitri, Khalid, Harry on crutches, Costa, Sam, and Costa proposed the idea of playing our futsal games on a Sunday night. First game, we play Ivory Toast, the team that we know a fair few of the players. And yeah, everyone was G'd up, everyone excited to play. First game of the season of ONE NIL FC, and last minute of the game, scored a goal, run up to the camera, give a little kiss, play the clip.
So obviously from my perspective, controlling, I guess, a lot of the behind the scenes stuff as well, in the sense of kits, cameramen, filming, all that sort of thing, editing. Season 1 was a big learning curve for me too. I think like making the kits was pretty cool. I've got the first season kit actually hung up in the study. But then also trying to find cameramen as well. And the first game we played against was actually boys that we played against that we went to school with. So it was a cool little moment. I think fun fact, I scored the first ever goal for ONE NIL FC. Did you know? It's a fun fact, that one. But I think season 1 was just cool. I mean, obviously we fell short in the semi-final, but I think it was a teething period. But I think season 1 was the season that we look at in the terms of competition and go, that was probably our best chance to win it, because I think what we made from then on, I think we were pretty responsible for the competition that came in a little bit after that.
So I started as gaffer. For the first 2 seasons I was injured, so I was just looking after these boys. And whilst it didn't look like they were listening, I can assure you they weren't. If they had listened to my tactics, we would have achieved a lot more in a shorter time period. But you can't look back on those things, because hindsight is a wonderful thing. But yeah, I just loved coaching the boys, just being a part of it. Still could be very vocal from the sideline, which I enjoyed, but it just made me want to get out there even more.
Initially, it was just a social thing, just so we could see the boys each Sunday, keep the group together. But once we made the semi-finals, it was as if, okay, we're here to play football. And the A team, one of the best teams in the league, come up against them. We had lost to them previously in the game during the season. I think 7-1 or 7-2, something along the lines of that. And disappointing result in the semi-finals, unfortunately. But first season, we were destined for great things. And
and I hear by a dozen. No, they hate on me, cause I'm up all of a sudden by miles. See if you counting by the hundreds, I think I got my joy in abundance. Niggas stay faking, I ain't even know until I switched up locations. How a nigga pop when this shit is so basic. Do it for the real, I ain't doing for the placements. Fuck the industry and everything that it came with, man. Look at where I am, to my amazement, man. I'm trying to take care of the family. No, I sweat down on the gang, I'll accomplish that. Can I get some space, man? Crowd getting a little bit crazy. I just wanna get close to my love. Don't put me on toast to outro. And tell me what you wanna do. We can catch a vibe and take it to the room, but maybe do it raw like we know. Cause I see it in your face when you want it. You don't even gotta say nothing.
Whoa, hop out the Rover. Fit is from Dover. My whip and my drip is imported. You rockin' and creasing your Jordan, squeaking like a Jordan. When you walking, when you talking, I ain't forcing. Grip the game just like some faucets. I contort it, twist and float just like a faucet. I endure the course and walk across and through the torment. And you ain't gotta say nothing. The way you move your body, just say something. Yeah, play like you ain't want it, girl, stay funny. I can give it how you want it if you stay fucking. Hey, yeah, this could be a thing for the summer. We can fuck around and make love. Fight, then we break up, kiss them.
Season 2, we came back after a long break due to COVID restrictions, and we had guns blazing. We were all keen to play, we were all fired up. New teams entered the league, Prison FC, Sheffield existing, and throughout the season, we were scoring goals, winning games, made the top 4, and finals week, semi-finals, we played against Sheffield United, Sheffield Sunday, and what a game that was. Went to extra time.
That's it. Khalid tells Sam where he wants him. Sam does well to go past one. Sam's going to finish at top bins. Sammy Camaracas. The crowd goes berserk. Ladies and gentlemen, a minute and a half left on the clock in the semi-final. Sam, like matter. Oh, it's too low.
And to penalties. Our second season, our first ever penalty shootout. We didn't even know how to take penalties. We didn't even know we had to do one step and shoot. And everyone's nervous. No one wanted to take the first penalty. Did I take the first penalty? I took the first penalty. And ice in the veins. Mate, no look.
Christos steps up.
Bottom bins.
No look.
Nigo didn't even touch the ball.
Netting.
and set the tone for the rest of the penalties. And everyone scored the penalty until Matty goes in goals and saves the last penalty of the shootout. And we all run to him. Everyone's lost it, absolutely lost it. I lost my voice after screaming for so long. Everyone's so J'd up.
So made my official debut for 1 NIL in season 2, which we all know is the greatest season, or nearly most successful season we've had. Obviously had that infamous penalty shootout semi-final against Sheffield, which was a nerve-wracking 2-2 finish, but going into the penalty shootout, always felt confident and backed myself that I'd save at least 2 penalties to give us the best chance of winning, and that's what I did. Saved 2, won us the game, and into the final we went.
Who other than Dimitri to practice to step up in a desperate time like this? He's got a fresh haircut. Dimmy through the middle, love to sing it, come on! Sends Nico the wrong way. 1 NIL FC, ladies and gentlemen. They can smell the grand final. They can smell it. Here we go. It all comes down to this. Nico Vera steps up for a penalty. Matty Ball, we're going to let it play out.
After that, obviously feels pretty good knowing that you helped a lot to get to the final. But yeah, obviously only a 40-minute turnaround to the next game, so you got to switch back on and get back in the zone.
Yeah, because we were like the new boys on the block in this first season and not winning it, we had something to prove. So a grand final win would mean a lot to us, I think, especially because that were the Prison who we played in the final were the only team we lost to, or I think lost a couple games. It was the major loss for us during the season. So winning and having that feeling of beating them like a kind of revenge, like we've got nothing to lose. But obviously things went the other way. So throughout the game, it was a weird feeling because their crowd was majority of the other teams that were in the semi-final, and it kind of matched our crowd's energy. So on that sense, it was like kind of adrenaline pushing from both ends. Throughout the game, it was tough though, because you know they're a good team. Majority of them play outdoor, majority of them played futsal before, so it was a bit hard to break down.
Something that started off so social and just for the piss, it actually gained traction. It got people around. We were bringing friends, family. We had 50 people come to watch us in that game. And hearing everyone on the sideline, it fired us up even more. And when we scored that, or when Matty saved that penalty, everyone running onto the pitch, everyone huddling up, everyone screaming and so joyful. It was such good scenes. And yeah, just something that wasn't meant to be serious, something just to keep the boys together, just so we could see each other each week, to develop into what it is now. It's so lovely to see. It's something special.
Season 2, we gathered a bit more momentum than season 1. We started to gel a bit more. The boys have played together a bit more, and it was looking good. And going into the semi-final, we had some sort of game plan, but as soon as that ball touched that court, it all went out the window. Okay, I'm ready. Okay. So, season 2 semi, went to penalties, and I think going to penalties, we were all, am I allowed to swear on this? We were all shitting ourselves, especially me. I was bricking it, I'm not gonna lie to you, but we managed to get through it. My shot, I don't know how it went in, and I don't know how Nico didn't save it, but it went in and we were ready for the final. And that final, sorry, 1 second. Can we just, I'll be back.
Open up, he's got a shot and it's 1 NIL. And you can see him celebrating 1 NIL to the camera. Look at this, and then he just sends Christian with a clothesline over the top rope in the Royal Rumble into the net, and it's a free kick. falls to the ground and has a lie down in the net. Interesting stuff. It's not over to the Fat Lacings. Dimmy absolutely sends Jake into a new universe. They are not happy. Senior is furious. It's a yellow card. Cotty's come on, but have to take him off. Referee here says that 2 minutes and Paul Christos has pushed himself up the field a little bit. Slides there. I think it was more of a slip. Ronaldo isn't happy. The superstars and Cotty was a lucky pass. Gets intercepted and it's 3-0. On 1, on 2. Shot away. Khalid does. Khalid hits a double corner. And it is 3-1, ladies and gentlemen. It is not over. The support of season 2 for ONE NIL FC. First of all, thank you to everyone who did come. It's quite surreal how many people we actually did have there. It wasn't mad feeling.
No, say it so they feel like shit.
Meanwhile, Khalid starts us off like we've never left with a goal. 2 wins it, plays it to Dimmy. Dimmy's got to find Costa in space. Costa taps it in and it's a goal. 2-2. There we go. Transition to a side kick. Costa intercepts it. Costa with the chip, dink, post and in. 5-2.
Welcome to the team.
Club zone. Meanwhile, Sam, lovely touch in goal. Look at the way Sam just cuts it. Just lost composure. That full pass there to Dimmy. Dimmy got the ball, trying to scoop past 1, scoop past 2, chip ball to Costa, who volleys it into the top. Get off! Senior just squashed him.
Season 3, it was, it was, not gonna lie, a bit tough to get back into it. But since we had lost that grand final, we were even more motivated. We were so much more keen to make those finals and actually win it this time. And even more teams had joined the league. It was getting so competitive compared to what it was in season 1, where we had teams like Don't Mess With The Johan or Vermont Rejects. We're beating those teams. If we played them now, we would have smacked them every time. But the first season, we weren't used to how it was. But now, yeah, we had teams like Manjit, Sheffield, Prison, any team that had seen our YouTube videos, they were keen to join the league and prove a point that they could take the spotlight away from us.
And then I think the season 3 semi-final, where again it felt like maybe this might have been our best opportunity one more time. We were playing some pretty good football, and once again from I guess a brand building perspective, there was a lot more attention around it. We had a lot more people at the game as well watching. A couple A-League women's players in the crowd watching.
Intercepted, Dimmy finish, Dimmy does, and it's 1-0. Come on, the boys. You can see how much it means to the crowd. Dimmy, unbelievable.
I think this was the season where the rivalries with different teams started to build up. I mean, Sheffield we've always been civil with, and it stays within the game, knowing how we know them outside of futsal. So they've always been good to us and kind of see each other as like the 2 historical teams of the league, like a Liverpool and a United, rather than the new boys at this point, now that we're in season 3. Whereas with Prison, that rivalry really started to heat up even throughout the season, just with some of the chat and some of the calls and, you know, just the aggression between the 2 teams.
His box office television scene has gone down. Jasper once again causing trouble, and if you do remember him from last grand final, he likes to cause a bit of trouble as well. So he's an interesting character, interesting person, but
And obviously that semi-final felt like it was. I get goosebumps thinking about that semi-final actually. I remember the ball goes over the top of Dimmy. Dimmy headers it down to Chris, and Chris taps it in. And just they both ran to the corner.
They give each other that extra pump up. Matty Boy with the throw to Dimmy. Dimmy to Chris. Chris finishes it. It's gone in the back of the net. It's 2-0 to ONE NIL FC. Can you believe the scenes? Look at the crowd go. Dad can't get up.
I think I was on the bench again for that. Somehow I run the club and I'm always on the bench, but I was on the bench for that. I think that's when we went up 2-0. So Prison again, we built such an intense rivalry with them. To the point where like we had never beaten them. And again, in the semi-final, we had never beaten them, never taken points off them, nothing. So it almost felt like Prison's just too good, and we just never ever got to beat them. And then to get off to the start that we did, it felt like maybe this was the time. And then it comes to a wall. And then I remember I scored the goal to go 3-2 up. Khalid squares it in, lovely bit of footwork. Luca Corrado actually lifted my mum in the crowd as well. And
on that night, Costa has the ball, goes for a shot. That's a handball, surely ref. No, plays it out wide to Khalid. Khalid plays it back into Costa. It's 3-2. That's a goal. The crowd's loving it. 3-2, ladies and gentlemen. 2-2. Bang, 2. Look, I picks up my mum. That's crazy. Look at that. The crowd's loving it.
I just remember I saw the newspapers, I saw the headlines, I saw, you know, Costa Fruits as the owner of ONE NIL FC scores to put them through into the grand final of season 3. You know, superstitious as well. Number 3, my favourite number, it was season 3. I thought it had to happen. But yeah, unfortunately, again, 4-3 loss to Prison FC in that semi-final, and it became a matter of, is this the end?
Where we weren't really putting in the effort to make those finals, and unfortunately we didn't, which was a big upset for a lot of people. And that's when I thought maybe next season we take a bit of a break and maybe we consider doing some training sessions or doing some tactic sessions, and maybe building our confidence from the ground, from where it was laying. And look, sat down the boys, we went to dinner, very formal. We're in our suits and just making sure, okay, if we're going to go into this next season, are we going to do this proper? And so sat them down, making sure that we're all keen enough to want that grand final. But to want it, you have to know what to do to get to it. And
Drops like that.
Pass Walker, plays it out to Jake, plays it back into Henry, and it's gone in. It's 2-all. Jeez, Chris like a freaking choice. Look at Chris. How's that a free kick? Hey, wait, but it just doesn't stop one. Goes past 2, goes past 3, the ball out, goal, it's 4-3. I want to thank everyone again once again for
Season 3, Chris, a bit of a bitch, was a bit heartbroken about losing the semi-final. I remember we all came back here to watch the game and Chris went home crying. But I think that's behind the scenes where it started, the chat of maybe stopping or maybe giving it a break for a little bit.
to be honest, I did. That dinner, I had written out paragraphs on my phone of dot points as to why we should take that break, just to solidify my position in what I believe would be best for the team. And after much back and forward debate, I was hoping that we could take that break just so we could come back season 5 and be up and running. We could smack any team that came against us. And look, at the end of it, it was juggling between, is it social or are we doing it competitively? And by the end of it, we were leaning towards the social aspect, because we stopped this season, we wouldn't be seeing the boys every week, or we would try to make that effort, but maybe people wouldn't be able to turn up. But you just got to remember, what benefit do you get from this if you're going to stop to play, and then try to get back in the season after. And what we found was it was most important to keep the boys solidified and together.
At the end of season 3, that's now 3 seasons where we've made the finals, but every time we've fallen short. And I think some people thought, maybe what more can we do? And whether it was maybe it was a pride thing of, you know, personal sort of pride thing of not wanting to lose and not wanting to get embarrassed or anything like that, or generally thinking is the best thing for the team.
I always thought to myself, there's no point taking a break because there's no improvement in that. You don't get to step out on the court and actually play. You just sit there for 12 weeks.
You know, it's like it's a bit depressing. You don't want to be embarrassed every time you go out there. In the back of your mind is you don't say it, but at the back of your mind you always know you're losing to this team and they can pull out anything. So Chris came to me talking about that, and from there we went for dinner. It was the five spuds.
It was quite confronting. As I'd only played a season, I was a bit disappointed to hear that a couple of the guys didn't want to keep playing.
You know, we obviously had the dinner, which has been built up. And I think in that dinner, which was perfect because, like I've said, my biggest thing was always not wanting people to get disinterested or not wanting to play. And if they ever did, then just let me know and that's fine. But I think to see that it started to have a little bit of a burden on some people, and obviously became a little bit frustrating for me, because obviously I feel like everyone's doing the brand and the business a favour as well. So you want everyone happy as much as they can, and I think I don't completely disagree with everything that was mentioned within that dinner. The only part that just, I guess, upset me, and it did upset me quite a lot, was just, not wanting to play. And I think at this point, obviously, I personally had seen the bigger picture, in the sense of, okay, in the grand scheme of things, we're playing at a Box Hill Social League where what we're doing for like a team that's for a bunch of nobodies, really, people are starting to pay attention to it. And I guess possibly it could be selfish from my point, but I think overall I like to think we're doing it all with my best mates, and I think that was maybe the most worrying thing of maybe we were forgetting what the real big thing here was, and that was to continue to see each other every Sunday night, continue to be involved. We go out for dinner after every game on a Sunday night, and that's something that I think we're all going to miss at the end of this. But I think it was maybe that thing of don't really know what we had until it was gone, and I think we made the right decision. I think personally we just had to keep on playing, and I know what I'm like, and I don't think as soon as it gets too tough that you should stop. I think you should keep on going. But I can understand where some of the opinions were coming from. And then
A couple of people went home sour, but just talking about whether we should give it a break or stop it completely, or whether we should keep playing. But the result in the end, it's majority rules, so which is fair enough. But yeah, it was a weird time going into season 4, because not everyone was on the same page. For me, there was like no motivation at all. Even though it was more of, that's where it turned to more that season 1 feel and that original idea that it was a social thing.
Yeah, I was similar to a couple of other boys in that I didn't think it would go kind of as far as it's gone. I really just saw it as like a social thing. Catch up with the guys on a Sunday, stay in touch, because after high school you do tend to lose that friendship, those friendships. So it was a good thing for me to just catch up with the guys every Sunday and just stay in contact.
Week in, week out, it was a devastating blow. I think we came second last, maybe 2-3 wins to our name, and we didn't make finals, which was heartbreaking. Our first season, we didn't make finals. I didn't know what to think of it, and I kept thinking back to the dinner and thinking maybe we should have just had that break and come back next season firing guns blazing. And look, as many peaks as you can have, there'll be troughs that come with it as well. So it can't be all good news. Sometimes you need these downfalls to be motivated, to step back up and push yourselves. And now, season 5, we're in it to win it.
Going into season 4, we were all a bit tired from the past 2 seasons, especially getting losses in both the grand final and the semi-final in season 3. And it really showed in our results in season 4. We mentally weren't ready. Going into the game, it was a bit of a piss take, am I allowed to say that? Piss take. And players missing games, not rocking up. The drive for me as well wasn't there. It was just a chore at that point. I haven't really spoken about this before, but I fell out of love for the game.
My name is Tom Callis, and I'm honoured to be ONE NIL's #1 ticket holder. Massive honour, I'm serious, massive honour, I love it. Gee, I think firstly, watching best friends playing together, you notice a different intensity than what you'd normally see when they're playing in just like random teams or school teams or leagues and so forth. So when close friends play together, there's a different intensity, which surprised me, to be honest. And it was great to see that journey go through. Was it 4 or 5 seasons all up? But the most important point, I think, is watching the journey that the boys, and Cross in particular, have morphed into improvements in like the marketing, the social media elements, and now more so the understanding how business works, the marketing, all the sponsorship, all the click rates and those kind of metrics, and watching the boys move beyond just the fun and the competitive element of the game into what life's really all about, which is those other business parts too. It's been an incredible journey, really fun to watch. I didn't expect it to be so much fun, to be honest. And yeah, bigger and better, hopefully.
Can I start off?
Okay, take a rest, and then we'll switch it. Well done, great game. Well done, mate. Oh, honoured. I mean, I was pleasantly surprised when George, my older son, decided to sponsor the team. Takes us back to when the kids were a lot younger, playing at their first junior club, where we sponsored just for the sake of contributing and helping a club through, meeting its finances and costs. It was a great honour to see it, and I'm glad he did actually. It was good to see. Watching you guys more from being boys into men, and learning more about the other parts of life, and going to market and trying to garner sponsorship, and watching the quality of the transmissions and on social media in particular, and how things have morphed and developed and become so more sophisticated is great to see, and it makes all of us parents proud to see all of you involved in something which is so embryonic, and it's growing, and it's fantastic to see. That is something I can't wait. I really can't wait, because I saw the makeup of the teams in the first couple of weeks where the boys were trialling and joining. I was shocked at how good and how skilled those players all were. I was just shocked. And I can see that a lot of these players were great players in their youth. School, uni, careers and so forth have taken a bigger precedence in their lives, which is good, I'm glad. And football has become more of an enjoyable social endeavour again. And they've come back to play with friends. And it's going to be an exciting new journey. And none of us can wait, actually. We all can't wait. Can't wait to see the new strips, the dynamic with the coaching on field, the competition they'll play against. It's going to be a different level. And being open pitch and full pitch, it's going to be a different environment altogether. It's going to be great.
By saying that Dimitri striker has gone in bottom corner. Unbelievable to see the ball. He puts it in the back of the net. That makes Chris Hahn. That makes Jasper. Can't see the goal.
I'm on the grind. That's all the time. And I can't let no dumb temptations or imitations.
Owen, thanks for coming. Although it's going to be the season.
So season 5 came around, and the final series was the last time we'd ever play in that finals competition. And when I say the last time we'd ever played, all this team and this competition, we will never touch a futsal court again in a competitive sort of manner. So this was it. This was our last chance.
So heading into season 5, I was actually injured for the first few games. So it hadn't really set in yet for me personally. But I could see the boys, it was a different level. The first few games were absolutely unreal from the boys, and I could not be more proud of how they played those first few games without me. And coming back in, I was refreshed, and it really, from then on, as it was the last season together, something just switched. We had nothing else to lose, that's it. We've lost Grand, we've lost the semi, and I told the boys after Macca's one night, boys, this is it. We have to go for it now.
Going into season 5, there was a certain aura around all the boys. We really thought it was something special that we could be here. Fairy tale ending, because we knew it was going to be our last.
So season 5 kicked off, and I was lucky enough to get a call up to 1 NIL. to play officially and get my kit and get my name put on the back, which is pretty exciting stuff. So I'd sort of been filling in when I wasn't working or filling in when I was working, and just like, you know, playing, and now it was official. So it was pretty big moment, and I was excited to see what was to come of season 5.
Talk about that.
Yeah, so the first Ammonia game was getting a bit intense. The one thing I remembered from when I wasn't playing for 1 NIL when I joined was the intensity within the team and against opposition was a lot higher than I'd previously sort of, you know, dealt with. Like I'd been at a few games when, you know, senior had gotten into a few fights, a few words had been said to opposition girlfriends, and you know, so I knew the boys could get a bit heated. So we're against Ammonia, good side, physical side, and once again there's a bit of history, connections there. So you know, a bit of a derby match, I guess you could call it. And you know, it started off very, very fiery as well. So there was a few, you know, headbutts. If you can cut back to the clip, you know, the ball goes out, being you know, headbutted by the opposition. You know, Dimmy getting a bit rowdy, and the opposition just like, you know, eating it up. But then at the end of the day, we just outran them, showed them how it was done, put a good result up on the board, and it was easy as that. So that was a good test, though, a good, like, you know, testing the waters, seeing what we could do together, and it was pretty fun. It's a good game.
So the first time we actually nearly beat him in the end, Prison, the first time this year, or this season. But the second time, it was like everyone was ready because we needed somewhat of a result. So even the back and forth of it showed the seasons as it's been, you know, like sometimes we play good, sometimes we play bad, we'd switch off, and that kind of reflected in the score. And then I think it's a new level now because of the fact that we try to win the game, and we got the draw and whatnot going into the finals, needing it. So it kind of reflected that we've taken that next step in season 5, and we can close out a game, especially against a team like Prison, who we've never beat before. So.
And in season 5, I knew obviously first that this was going to be the last season for 1 NIL FC in the futsal sort of thing. I personally wanted to expand it a little bit. We had expanded with another 1 NIL FC team that played in the Bulleen Veneto Club tournament summer competition, which I was playing in. But I got some other boys involved, and unfortunately we fell short in that grand final as well. But again, season 5 was that season where we had some unbelievable games. We had a tough fixture. I think this fixture and the league and the teams involved in this league were just even better. You know, you're coming up against teams that would only play summer competition, but now everyone wants to play every single season. And I think because of that, I think it just only pushed us a little bit more. And I think season 5 was the first sort of season maybe where I think our focus was, let's just play well. You know, whatever happens, let's just play well. Play good football, give ourselves the best opportunity we possibly can to actually finally win the title. And I guess it's difficult in a way to promote a club that's been around for a couple of seasons at that place and fallen short 4 times now, 5 times if you're going to include the Bulleen competition as well, which we will because it's the club. But at the same time, I think season 5 felt different, and I think that was something that was getting thrown around quite a lot in the sense of it just something about it just felt different.
Fucking game, lads. The peak of 1 NIL. It's always a big game. The peak of 1 NIL is today. The next 2 games defines our history as 1 NIL FC futsal 5-a-side. Let's fucking win this.
So much money on the line. We consider we've bumped it up. We've got one last chance to win it all. We've been close so many times. One will have seen it win this. We like to play the grand final, play fair on the attack. Yeah, they do want to go past 1. Oh my goodness, what they started is what play feet. Just got caught a little bit flat-footed when the ball snuck in right out. Costa, oh, it's in the cross. Brett there, fantastic play. Brent's got a lethal shot. Owen with a lovely turn. Owen with a strike, and it's going in the bottom corner. Owen, thanks for coming. 1-1. All squaring again. The touch though. Can he come back to track at the goal? Oh, it's not. What more do you want? Owen interception. Owen strikes. Keeper makes a great save. Looking unlikely. And that, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, is the final. So
don't be too upset. I think what we've done is incredible, and I know some of you are probably at home watching this thinking I'm watching a documentary about a team that's won nothing. However, I think personally in my eyes we've won a whole lot more, and at the end of the day a medal, it counts for nothing, because what we've built, I think, is we've built stronger relationships across everyone in the team. We've built stronger relationships, I guess, with other mutual friends that have come to the games to watch. I've built stronger relationships with people outside of just ONE NIL FC in general that have showed their support and that just at least know about ONE NIL FC now and give some positive words of encouragement. I guess that would all help out in the future. So obviously the emotions were pretty flat at the end of the game, and seeing those that really give 110% week in, week out, seeing them upset obviously absolutely crumbled me. And the Guzman Gomez after the game wasn't the same, but it generally was. I don't think I was as upset as what I thought I would be, purely because I was more just proud, as cringe, as cheesy as it sounds. I was, the next day it hit me more, but generally I go, you know what? A medal's a medal. Yes, it'd be fantastic if we won, and that's all I really wanted. And I told people that all I wanted was ONE NIL FC to win the trophy. But generally, I think it felt a little bit different when we lost. I think everything got put into perspective a little bit, where I'm like, you know what? Yes, we've lost. Yes, we haven't won anything just yet on this sense of a trophy cabinet. But I think it's something that, you know, I believe everything happens for a reason. And for whatever reason this is all happening for, that day we do win something, make sure you're there. It's going to be fucking unbelievable.